Good evening. I'm here to present my essay for my individual assessment Prelims 1. My name is Kato Galang. My student number is 2102073. And this is for my subject, social and professional issues. First question 1. What is ethics? In my own words, ethics is the correlation of behavior between individuals in society and how humans indicate fitting faces towards the public. But according to Paul, R.W., and Elder L. 2019, a set of concepts and principles that guides us in determining what behavior helps or harms sentient creatures. To my understanding, the statement refers that ethics is the general concept of understanding of our reactive actioning towards events or actions that correlates to our well-being. Furthermore, they stated that most people confuse ethics with behaving in accordance with social conventions, religious beliefs, the law, and do not treat ethics as a standalone concept. Ethics could not be specifically rooted into societal construct as I thought it would be. Furthermore, in their book, they stated that ethical reasoning is the highlight of two acts, one that enhances the well being of others and one that diminishes it. We as humans have the capability to recognize whether those things apply to us. We can recognize what actions benefits us and benefit the stature of the others, as we can see what actions are also capable of deriving others from the same stature. Humans, being capable of such high mental capability, have the capacity to understand if actions could be good or bad. In group constructs, ethics is about the other. It is concerned of another stature and recognizes it to a point it could also be used as a group stabilizer, in which it unites individuals into agreeing in one certain thing in which they enforce, although this can be viewed negatively as well. But overall, it is stated that ethics does not always give the right answer, only an insight into what is close to correctness. The second question to be presented: how does ethics differ from morality? People often make this simple mistake. Morality is equals to ethics. Both are correlated, but one of the other differs from the other in terms of its input. Morality, for example, are the rules and conducts that come from an external source. Example is which religious rules, community practices, and attitudes, workplace habits, and so on and so forth. Whilst ethics refers to the conduct within an individual, what they perceive as right or wrong within their own conduct, it only reflects towards another, while so it is highly influenced by morality. Ethics circulates within the perception of an individual. It can be in line with the morality of one society, though ethics can be in against with the morality of a community. Moral decision making relocates ethical decision making away from an individualistic reflection of an imperative's utility or virtue into a social space. In that space, one is implicitly aware of the other, wherein we understand from the start that we need to have a dialogue. There's a difference between what I should do in an ethical dilemma and what we should do in a moral dilemma. Cited by Walker P. and Lovat T. No date to be recorded. More so, it is understood that morality does not strictly define the true or the followed ethics of a person beneath the rules and aspects it brings upon its given group. One may say abortion is humane as it preserves the health of a mother and doesn't risk her life, especially if the mortality rate of both mother and child upon childbirth is at elevated levels, while another would counter it with both lives are in importance. A new life should not be taken from it before it is born. One of these examples reflects the morality and ethics of an individual. It is up to your perspective to decide which is which. A line from What's the Difference Between Morality and Ethics? No date. Encyclopedia Britannica, retrieved February 5, 2022. Both morality and ethics loosely have to do with distinguishing the difference between good and bad, right and wrong. Many people think of morality as something that's personal and normative, whereas ethics is the standards of good and bad, distinguished by a certain community or social setting. What are different moral ethical theories? That is, now we're presenting the third question. There are eight major types of moral ethical theories. To list them all, they are egoism, hedonism, naturalism, and virtue theory, existentialism, Kantianism, utilitarianism, constructualism, and religion or religious ethics. Egoism is the concept of moral ethics whereas an individual can be found to believe that we should act in accordance with our own interests and not others. Egoism can vary from an individual. Hedonism is the belief that the aspect of the absence of pain or suffering is the most important of principles. It could be as simple as reading a book, to more extreme aspects as enjoying intercourse with your lover. Ethical naturalism is the nature to what is normally good and bad. For example, action is morally right to the extent that it tends to produce happiness or pleasure broadly constructed, and morally wrong to the extent that it fails to produce happiness or tends to produce unhappiness or pain, broadly constructed. Cited by Mill J.S. 1861. Existentialism believes that we are responsible for every course of event and actions that is happening to ourselves. Kantianism is the belief that ethical rules must be specifically followed. This means that some certain actions, example murder, adultery, terrorism, are prohibited. Utilitarianism believes that something is morally and ethically correct if it deals certain good to numerous individuals and harms to a few. Example, hindering a dictator causing global chaos in sacrifice of the freedom and happiness of his origin country. Contractualism is moral and ethical belief that an action is right if it is enforced by a moral aspect no one can objectify to. Religion or religious ethics defines the meaning of the field and presents a distinct and original method for ethical reflection. Through comparisons of world religious traditions, various moral and ethical rules in society or in an individual are reflected by the religion that strongly surrounds. That is all for my presentation. Have a good evening, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you.